Hi, I'm Doug Cushman. I'm a painter and illustrator, author of children's books. Welcome to my Watercolor Techniques series. Today we're going to talk about the tools you'll need for painting a watercolor. I usually use two kinds of pencils. One is this mechanical pencil, and it's just something very basic and simple. The lid comes out here like that. The advantage of using this mechanical pencil is that you don't have to sharpen it. The lead just comes out in one fell swoop over here. The other pencil that I like to use is just a regular schoolboy pencil. It's a number 2 HB. You do need to sharpen it, and the old-fashioned way, and actually the way I really enjoy doing this, is take an X-Acto knife. So you start sharpening with your X-Acto knife or a single-edged razor blade, and you do it slow. This is from my school days in art school that I learned to do this, and it is very relaxing to a point. You start thinking about what you're going to draw with this pencil here, and you get to the point about here. You expose this much lead in your pencil, and then you take your sanding block and you start sharpening. Not too hard, and voila, you have a nice sharp pencil to begin your drawing. Okay, these are my brushes. This is the brush container holder that I bought in Hong Kong last year. These are round brushes. I prefer round brushes. I love the shape for doing portraits in my plein air painting. Another choice is some flat brushes like this. This is an example. I use these occasionally for my book illustration art, but for the portraits and the plein air painting, when I go outside, these are the brushes I prefer. This is a Daniel Smith number 20, which is the largest brush that I use. This is a number 12 Da Vinci. Da Vinci is probably one of the best brushes out there. They're expensive, but if you treat it right, it can last you for 20, even 25, 30 years. So they're just really good. And this is actually just a little cheaper Raphael brush that I use, but the bristles are really, really nice. And again, if you treat it well, wash them all the time, they'll stand up with you. And this is a small little brush that I got in Hong Kong last year. This is mouse hair, which is kind of fun. But it does go to a very nice point. And I use this only for small details. I don't get into detail very often with my watercolors, but there is every so often for small antennae of castles and chateaus or little eyes on some of my portraits, some of the little dots. I'll use that for I'll use this brush for that. There are two kinds of palettes I like using. This is the first one is a large palette. It has 30 trays for colors. I use this mainly for my studio work. But what I use for my plein air and traveling is a palette like this. It's a cheap plastic Winsor Newton palette. It has the mixing trays here. You can pull out some more mixing trays like this, and here's a little place for your thumb. So this is a wonderful traveling palette that I use for my portraits and my plein air painting. Okay, and then these are my colors that I use. Starting from here, this is the Payne's Gray, this is Raw Umber, this is Sap Green, this is a Cadmium Yellow Deep, a Raw Umber, a Naples Yellow. This will be a Carmine Red, Cerulean Blue, Ultramarine Blue, Cobalt Blue. This is your Yellow Ochre. This is a Lemon Yellow. alizarin crimson, a burnt sienna, burnt umber, ivory black. It's to be a cadmium red light, cadmium red deep. This is my olive green, and this is a viridian green. What I like to do is have at least a warm and cool color of each. A warm red with a cool red, a warm green with a cool green, etc. Okay, when I need a color, I'll get my bag of colors. Probably not the most organized system in the world, but it works for me. These are all the tubes that I have. So I'll pull out a tube of color that I'll need and simply just squirt a color into my palette. What I do is, you can see that the paint is sticking out a little bit over the tray. So what I'll do with a palette knife is just spread it around a little bit so it fits into the tray a little bit better, so I can close the tray and paint does not get into my mixing trays while I travel. I hope I've given you some helpful hints for your own watercolor painting. You have a great time.